This is the schema and what we've been doing the last day. So let's go and let's check here. So this is the diagram what we need to do, and as you see, the IP address is supposed to be 192.168.202. Well, in our case, because it's a DHCP taking it, no problem for this. So once again, because that's what is the default behavior, we are not able to ping neither of these. We cannot ping the public IP address by default, so we need to do something about it. Another thing, what's interesting is from here, from our domain controller, we could ping Google, my name. Obviously, we could ping it by IP address as well. And apparently, we are able to do something with the internal network as well, the other internal network. Something else from here also, if you would like to ping the internal network, let's see what's going on. So if I ping 192.168.100.5, if you remember, that was the IP address here. Yeah, 105, we did it statically. You see, that's good. We're not supposed to be able to do it anyways. Okay, that's something which it is. So what we need to do basically at the moment, we are okay from our LAN. We could go and see our web server in DMZ. By the way, if I ping it, I could ping it too, right? So I could ping it and I could go to the HTTP port. I cannot do the same from the DMZ to LAN, which is good. And from DMZ to the outside world, I cannot do anything, which is not really what we want. You know, you would like to have access at least to ping internet from your internal network. Now we need to do something else also to allow the access from internet to this web server as well. So what I want to say is when we open this guy here, when we open this one, and supposedly we put the IP address. So if we do the IP address of 200, well, we would like to be able to access the web server in a way. Maybe we need to do a port forwarding, or maybe we need to do one-to-one NAT. We'll see, but we need to do something so to be able from outside world, which is this is my real computer, right? So from the outside world, we need to be able to access our web server. So we need to do these things now. If I check the DNS, the command is dig. And if I do, DNS lookup will work as well, but dig is better to be used in Linux. I'll do dig google.com, and it's supposed to list here what is the DNS to resolve this. So the dig command once again doesn't show anything. We need to do something. The first thing we will do is to go to our firewall. Here's the firewall. In my case, pfsense in your OpenSense is very similar thing. Okay, the menus, even though it looks differently, they're very similar, and you have them on the movie. So if you use OpenSense, you could go and do them. If you do whatever I'm doing, well, you just do what I'm showing. So what we need to do here first is to go to the firewall, and we need to go to the rules. Okay, now as you see, there are three interfaces. Floating rule we're gonna skip for now, we're not gonna explain anything. You have rules for one, and as you see, there are no rules here. There are rules for the LAN. These are the rules which are automatically generated. So these are the two rules actually when we set when we set, let me show it to you actually, if I go to the general setup. These are the rules where, if you remember, I asked you to uncheck the boxes. The two boxes which were, actually, I'm sorry, when I go to the interfaces one, when I ask you to uncheck these two check boxes. So when you did this, basically these rules has been added automatically to the one interface here and to the LAN interface. Actually, these are the rules. And if you go to the DMZ interface, they're not there, but actually it's the same. So as well as this rule is the one which allows us to access the graphical interface. So on the LAN, be careful, don't remove neither of these rules. So be careful, these rules supposed to be here. They allow you actually you guys to access and to work smoothly on the through the web interface. So what I would do on the DMZ, I would create a new rule. I could say add, okay, and the new rule will be added. So basically, when I click this arrow up, actually the rule will be created first. It's the same like with the IP tables. The rule which is on the top, this is the rule which first will be taken in consideration. And if this rule matches, actually the next rule and the next rules won't be checked anymore. So the rules which are on the top, they have higher, they're more in charge than the others which are below. Okay, so that's important thing to remember. And the order of the rules matter. That's what I would like to say. So I'm going to say add again, and there are three different. It's exactly the same what we've been doing in the IP tables once again. So you have pass, you have block and reject. Now, if you block it, silently blocking. If it's rejecting, it's giving to the party which trying to access. It's giving a message that is rejected. So most of the time, it's better to use the block instead of reject. And pass, we're going to use pass in that case. Now, the interface we apply, this is the DMZ. The address family. In our case, first thing what we would like to do is to be able to ping Google by IP address, just to ping something from outside. So to ping a public IP address. So the protocol which is in charge with this is called ICMP. Here it is. And we're going to choose all the subtype. Remember, in IP tables, we'll be choosing specific subtypes, the ICMP request, ICMP reply. Well, here it's easy to choose the any. But if you would like to specify more precisely, well, you have all of them. Okay? Now, the source. We could say the source, we could specify here the network where we are, and the network where we are is the DMZ network. Here it is, the DMZ net. So everything from DMZ net to any destination, okay, which means everywhere outside in the in the outside world. So if I click here description and say, let's say ping DMZ to 1, that will be a user-friendly name for this rule, and I need to apply the changes. Okay, now let's check if this done something. I still cannot ping by name, right? Well, it's obvious because I don't have access to a DNS server, to a proper DNS server. So let's try to ping the 8.8.8.8. And now, as you see, I'm able to ping .8.8.8. Now, let's try also to ping the internal IP address, which before I wasn't able to ping. So 192.168.100.5. Oops. I made a mistake here. There are supposed to be dots. Now you see I'm able to ping inside as well. Well, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. We need to do something about it. So we need to say in which direction we would like to be pinged. So we're going to stop this ping in that direction. We don't need this one. When you see the gateway with asterisk, actually, you know that it is working internally in that case. It will work in all directions. Now, I need to change this. I need to come here and I need to change it to my default gateway. So the next thing what I want to do is to try to access the DHCP, to access from inside the outside world by pinging, so to be able to access the Google. So what I would do, I need my DNS server, and I have already a DNS server. I could point to an outside one, but if I have internal one, why don't use the internal one actually? So what I could do, I will create a new rule on my firewall. I'll come back to the rules, and I'm going to copy this rule. And copying the rule is very easy. You click on these two, you duplicated it basically. If you hover over on these two squares, you're going to copy it. On pfsense, you're going to see there is a control as well. You could do the same. If you would like to stop the rule, not deleted it, but just stop it, here it is. You could stop it from here. So disable it from here. And if you would like to delete it, it's the last one. If you would like to change it, this one. If you would like to change the position, if there are more, and if you would like to move it up or down, well, with this control, you just move it up or down. Okay? And you could create separators. These separators are, you could separate things, so you could do separation like this. But I'm not going to do this. What I'll do, I will duplicate this rule. So when I duplicate the rule, actually it will copy exactly the same rule. So I could change just some things inside, so to be able to do additional actions on this. So what I'll do, once again, let me say this, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and then it will be interface DMZ for sure. Will be IP address. Now in that case, I want DNS, and DNS most of the time working UDP. There are some ways where it works on TCP as well. So I'm going to use the TCP UDP, in that case, both of this. So to be sure, wherever this protocol works, even though TCP is not all the time, but when it works, it will be available as well. So the source, once again, is the DMZ net. So from DMZ, now the destination actually will be the LAN net. The LAN net. So we would like to access from DMZ our LAN, and the port supposed to be port 53, which is the DNS, and you're going to find it here. Here it is. It says DNS. That's the port, and it will say from to automatically. And I'm going to say on the description, I'm going to say DMZ to LAN, and I'm going to describe the protocol which will be there, DNS. Now you could do your own rules. I'm just doing it as shorter as possible, and I mean to know what's going on. So I'm going to save it. I need to apply the changes, and you see the second rule now will appear here. So let's try now to see if we're able to ping Google by name. Basically, what we need to do is to come and to change the DNS server. And basically, while we're changing the DNS server, okay, so we need to point to this DNS server. It doesn't know about it, right? So while we're doing this, actually, we're going to do a static IP address as well. So I'll come here. I'll click on the settings. I'll go IP version 4. You see it's automatic. I'll say manual. Let's double check once again what they want from us this IP address to be. So let's open it and see it. It's supposed to be 192.168.202. That's what we're going to put here. So we'll put 192.168.200.2, and it mask will be 24. Gateway 192.168.200.1. That's the firewall interface. And the DNS is important. Now we're going to put here 192.168.100.5. If you remember, that's this one. So without this DNS there, it doesn't know where exactly to go and to what to do. Okay, so that's the IP address, right? 192.168.105. So I'm going to apply this thing. I'm going to stop and start it back just to be sure it will do it. And I'm going to try again ping Google. And now, without any problems, I will be able to ping Google, because apparently it knows. And if I check my DNS server with big command again, surely I'm going to see the resolution, that's the IP address which is on Google. This resolution from the name goes from the DNS server 192.168.105 on the port of 53. So that's how we resolve. Even though we resolve the name though, if I try now to go to an internet site, okay, if I try to open Google itself, you're going to see I'm not able to. You see, it doesn't do anything. Well, this is the fact because in our firewall, we need actually to allow this too, right? So what we need to do basically is to allow the HTTP and HTTPS to propagate. We need to allow HTTP as well, since you know, some of the part of the some parts of this would need to have the DHCP, the HTTP protocol working. It's a complex site. It's not only one link. That's why we need the HTTPS. So if I just copy this rule again, it would be on DMZ interface, IP version 4 family addresses. Now in our case, we know HTTPS, they work only TCP. So we don't need a protocol which won't work to stay there. Actually, it will allow you know, to be used by malicious entities. So we need to take just exactly what we need at the, you know, on the firewall. So TCP is what we need. The source once again will be the DMZ. The destination will be any, because we're gonna go everywhere, right? And then in case instead of DNS, we need to choose here HTTPS. Here it is. So if I do HTTPS and I say this thing DMZ to one, I could say actually to internet. DMZ to internet. Okay, and I'm gonna say save. I'll apply the changes. Now if I go there and if I try again, you see it's trying to connect. I could close it, could open it again. It will try to connect. Maybe there will be some, for some site, maybe there will be some success, but for more complex sites, which once again, they're using not only HTTP, but they might use HTTPS, but they use also HTTP. And Google for sure is kind of site like this. You know, you definitely need HTTP protocol there. Now, the HTTP, I could just copy this and I could put HTTP instead of HTTPS and it will work. Like, let me show it to you. Let's do it. If I do like that, and I'm just gonna change HTTPS to HTTP, I don't need to change anything else actually. I need to apply the changes. And if I come here and try it again, well, there is no reason anymore. I don't want to see the site. Now, what I want you to do actually is a little bit to show it to you, something which is very useful. So instead of doing two rules, I could use only one. So I'm going to delete these two rules. Okay, I'm going to delete both of them. I'll apply the changes. And I'm going to copy this one once again. I could create it from scratch, obviously. And basically what I'll do, I'll go to firewall and I'm going to choose the first, which is called here aliases. So I'm going to go and I'll create an alias. So the alias, it's exactly what it means. It's kind of shortcut or kind of what I'll do actually for this ports. You see there are IPs I could do aliases on, ports and URLs. So I could go to ports and basically I could click add and I'm gonna put this one. That would be my web unsecure. Okay, well, that will be Control X web unsecure, and that will be HTTP. And the port for HTTP, we know what it is. It's well, that's the type, the port, and the port itself is 80. And I could put here again the description, the same thing. I'll say save. Well, it doesn't allow HTTP like this. I'll say something like this. And you see now I have port 80. Actually, I could add more. Okay, I could add HTTP secure here. Actually, what I need to do here is I need to call this something. I need to call it web, let's say. So let's call it web, and that would be my alias for web access. Let's do it like this, okay? And then it will be ports, and that will be the port. And now I could add another port, which will be 443, and that will be web secure. So that's what we do actually. And this basically will create on this alias web access, on this alias called web, which is for web access, it will add these two ports. So I'm going to save. I could add more ports if I want. And now when I go to the rules, I go firewall rules again. I go to the LAN, DMZ. I'm going to copy this rule. I'm going to do exactly what I did before. I'll change TCP UDP just for TCP. Okay, it's on DMZ interface and DMZ net. It will go to any interface we set. And in that case, we're going to say HTTP, HTTPS here. Well, we need to say other. And in the custom, we need to start writing down web. And it will be shown here. I'm going to click on it. And here I need to do the same. So in that case, both ports will be done in one rule. And in that case, I'm going to say DMZ to internet again. Okay. And I don't need to do both rules now. It's only one rule. But you see, when I hover over it, it will show it to me that the two ports are inside. And I could do everything like this. I could do networking like that. I could put more on network. I could put hosts inside. So I could combine, in that case, many rules in one rule. That's very useful thing to do. Okay. So if I check again by going to a random site, for sure it will work. Okay, here it is. It's working. When you see this star, that means all ports. In case of the ports, when you see destination or source, well, that means all destination or all source. When you see this asterisk with the gateway, that means the default gateway. So all of this is a little bit not secure, you know, going all directions, and you saw it, right? We're not supposed to be able from our DMZ to ping our LAN. I mean, it's good that we are able to ping Google. That's awesome. Okay, but I'm not supposed to be have any access other than the access to my DNS server on my LAN. Yeah, see, I'm pinging this. And if I would have had an HTTP server as inside, I would have accessed it. So, because of the other rule which I did, the HTTP. Now, what I would do in that case, there are a couple of ways to resolve this, but we'll try to do one specific. We'll go back to our firewall. I would have some explanation eventually why the ping doesn't propagate from DMZ to LAN. In our case, we're going to choose block for now. Once again, we say on the DMZ interface, address family IP version 4 once again. ICMP is the protocol with all the subtypes of ICMP. The source will be the DMZ itself, the network of DMZ, and the destination will be LAN. And in that case, we're going to say DMZ to LAN. And I'm going to put an exclamation point in front of ping, which means not pinging. Well, there is another way this to be done for sure. You could actually say, you could invert it. Okay? You could invert. So when you say invert, actually it will do exactly what I'm showing here, and you're not going to be able to ping it. But let's try with the block. So let's say block it. And let's do save. Let's do apply changes. Now, notice that the block rule is below the allow rule. Okay? Well, in that case, so as you see, we're still able to ping both, and that's how we did it. We put it, the DMZ to LAN ping, we put it as a second row because we just copied. Now let's move it. I'll take this anchor and I'll put it on the top. Okay, I'm gonna put this rule first. and then I'm going to save, and then I'm going to apply the changes, right? Now, let's try to ping again internally and Google. So let's open. First, let's try Google. Okay, no problem. We're still pinging Google. That's what we want. Let's try now the internal. Aha. Okay, we're not able to ping. So as you see, guys, this was in the IP tables as well, if you remember, right? Let me repeat it once again. When the first rule, which is the blocking rule of DMZ to LAN ping, was first rule, okay, in that case, it was the second rule. In that case, it was checking and it was seeing that you could ping everywhere. And afterwards, basically, the rule didn't apply. The second rule didn't apply. Now, when we put it at first, now we try to, we ping outside. Well, it's not this rule. It's keeping it, and it goes to the second rule, and it will ping it outside. Now, but when we try to ping from DMZ to LAN, because that is the blocking rule and it's on the top, it will block it, and it won't allow to propagate. Once again, that's why the position of the firewall rules in any firewall, that was IP tables, it's in the firewall D everywhere, pfsense as well. The position, which is on the top, is very, very important. And that's why you see, you have here these arrows, and you have these anchors to move up and down. For the last rule is the same. I'll click and duplicate the rule. Well, actually, it's even faster because I don't need to do anything fancy here. I need to say, instead of any, I need to say LAN net. Okay? As well as, don't forget, you need to block it. Okay? And then I need to, well, the web interface, I will leave it. And I'm going to say DMZ to LAN. And I'll say no. Well, that's how in programming and in firewalling as well, they show the not to do something. So no web access. Okay, I'm gonna go say save. I'll say apply. Now don't forget, if this specific rule, it is below, it doesn't really matter. So I need to take it and I need to put it before the other one. Okay, and now if somebody tries to go HTTPS, it won't be able to. Basically, what I'll do here, just gonna say save, then I'll apply the changes, and that's how my rules looks like. Okay. Now I could combine. You see in the web, I could combine, let's say, some of the other rules. So eventually, to do less rules, I could say the LAN. You know, the web. I could add the 53 inside as well. So it won't allow to. It will be here. If I add this port, well, no problem. I'm gonna skip this rule then. Now I don't need to do a blocking rule for the DNS, because as you see, it specifies which direction it goes. It says where the destination is. So it will go only this direction. So it's fine. I don't want to do anything about it. So that's how you guys create your rules. And this is the way, once again, if you're using pfsense, it's similar. It's exactly the same. You're going to have there in and out. Always choose in that case. Don't go and choose out. It's the default behavior there. That's the only thing which you have extra there. You don't have anything else more. But that's how you create your rules. So basically, at the end of the day, all the infrastructure to act as you want. It's exactly as you did on ASA, on the Cisco Adaptive Security Appliance, which is the default behavior there. If you remember, the security zones 100, 0, 50. That's exactly what we did now on this one. It's acting exactly like the ASA at the moment. So with this, guys, I'm going to stop the recording. Save.